Hello. Do you like twinks? Do you like white-haired anime boys? Do you like characters who are just so kind and gentle and caring, and then something happens and you realize, oh, he's a little bit fucked up, actually? Well, boy, have I just got the scrunkliest little guy for you. He's not even actually the main character, but if you are not acquainted with Atelier, it is a beautifully illustrated manga. The world building is insane, the conflict and the politics of the story are incredibly nuanced, there's a lot of, like, very good, very diverse representation. It's good. My personal take is if you enjoyed the interpersonal complexities and the moral grayness of the subject matter in Arcane, you will like Atelier. Anyway, the biggest thing that drew me to it before I knew anything about the story was the visual design. Literally looking at any of the art, it is so very obvious that Shirahama Kamame loves designing fantasy clothing. Because it slaps, all of it. God, it just slaps so hard. So, the shirt that we are going to be making is an adaptation of this gem of an outfit that literally only shows up in like the first half of chapter 14 and then it's never seen again. So the full thing is like a belted robe, and it's me, I'm doing it, it's my shirt, I'm making it. I'm gonna take the top half of it and just make it end at the waistband. So there's a couple things I need to account for before I can actually get into physically making this, the first being, it needs color. I don't think there's any official art in color of this design. If there is, I haven't seen it. I've seen a couple people interpret these areas as like a pale blue, which does work with, you know, the way that they're not like shaded to be darker does imply a pale, maybe a pastel color. However, the color that I see in my brain when I look at this is red, and there is nothing I can do to change that, so that's what we're doing. The tassels and the belt, this bit here, I also see very clearly as a red, maybe like a darker shade. And then this bit right here I see as like a golden kind of color. The buttons, I think I want that same gold color. Initially, I had wanted them to also be red, and then the decorative buttonholes would be gold, but it wasn't looking right. So this is like the most like correct looking coloring that I have been able to come up with. Second problem I have is these little lines. I have to decide what they actually are. These, to me, look like pintucks, and since I have done a little bit of research and found out that you can in fact do curved pintucks, that is what I'm going to try to do. I can already tell you that I am probably not going to film very much of that process, if I film any of it at all, because I just know it's going to be a pain in the ass. Thirdly, there are no visible closures. The belt shouldn't be too complicated. I should be able to just like put hooks and eyes in it and call it good. This, however, this is a little ridiculous. The collar on this shirt is drawn to be one piece, which physically is feasible. With a neckline this wide, you don't have to worry about getting your head through. I just think it might look a little strange. With a two-dimensional image, you have a lot of room. The fabric is going to do whatever you want it to because you're drawing it. But once you realize this design into a physical object, I'm not completely certain it's going to work as well visually. I think I am going to try doing it this way because I can't think of a way to have the front be two, like, separate pieces and still have the neckline sit like this. I do think it should work visually, and if it does end up looking a little weird, then, you know, you can't find out unless you fuck around. A couple other design things. I'm not going to do this macrame kind of situation because it would make this just a little bit more logistically complicated than I want it to be, especially since this will be part of the shirt and not just a belt. And I can do this because there are panels in which the tassels just hang straight off the belt. So these are the materials we got. Oh god. These are the materials. This is what I used for Kifri's robe, my first version of Kifri. This is what's left of it. This I found at a thrift store, completely by chance. I'm very, very happy with it. And then this is gonna be tassel material, which I stumbled upon completely by accident while I was perusing the wares of a merchant by the name of Michael, looking for something that would be good to make tassels out of. And I think it'll work very nicely. It's a very nice, thickness. I don't have anything for the gold bits, for the buttons, or the middle of the sash. I'm going to go to scrap, and also to the East Bay Depot for Creative Reuse, I believe, which is a much bigger mouthful than scrap is, but I'm gonna see what I could find there. If I don't find anything, I'm going to, I found like a jacquard ribbon on Etsy that I think can work nicely, but I would like to find a sustainable option first if I can. So, don't have that yet, but I can get started on the shirt right now. So, I'm gonna do it. I am improvising my way through this, as is custom in this house. I think the best course of action here is to construct the body of the shirt, and then from there I can cut the collar, like the neckline shape, where it needs to go. This will be a lot easier if I have a dress form. I don't have a dress form. Collars and necklines are the bane of my existence, and I need to see how it sits on my body before I cut anything any lower. So this is what it's doing as a constructed thing. I also forgot that the measurement of your back, like top of your back to the waist, is gonna be longer than the front of your shoulder to your waist. So it's too short in the back. And I really don't want to take this apart and recut the back piece. But I think I have to. Me when I'm stupid. So I didn't have enough fabric to cut a new back panel. So what I have elected to do instead is to just make the seam allowances in the shoulders really, really small. I fortunately did cut a lot of seam allowance into the front pieces. If I kind of like shift it so that the seams themselves are not like the center like top, and I have the seams sit a little bit further back on my shoulder, it looked, when I pinned it together, it looked like it was probably going to cooperate. So that's how this is gonna be. Alright, so completely switching gears for a minute because my ADHD said so. I did my little field trip to San Francisco and also to Oakland. I found these things at the East Bay Depot. I am unsure which one I would want to use for the belt. I also just take a moment to appreciate, like, how incredibly, like, completely these all match each other. Like these two I found completely by chance, and they all just, you know, I'm almost, like, kind of loath to dye these darker because they just, like, it's so convenient. Well, in a really strange turn of events, apparently curved pintucks are not actually very hard to do at all. I was expecting such a tight curve to be a real pain in the ass, but like, this was easy. I did the thing, I was thinking about it in, like, the wrong kind of three-dimensional, like, I needed to rearrange the way I was perceiving, like understanding the physicality of what I was gonna be doing with the fabric. This took me like 3 hours. I tried doing things in a neat and orderly and mathematically grounded way, and you know where that got me? It was nowhere. That wasn't getting me anywhere, so we're just eyeballing it. This? Do you see this? This bendy and twisty nonsense? This all, you know, doesn't kind of want to sit flat? I'm running this through a machine. You know, the thing about sewing is that there are some things that, like, you can't just get away with. Like, they're possible physically, but, like, there's some kind of... It's like there's some kind of entity that, like, you have to pay a tax to in order to make it happen. And sometimes the choice you have is between, like, do you want to sacrifice time, or do you want to sacrifice your mental stability? So this, I am going to not work on anymore tonight. Rip all of the machine stitches out, and do it all by hand. Which was the original plan anyway, and then I thought, well, this is gonna take me goddamn forever, so I'll try doing it by machine. Because hypothetically, that can be done. But, I always kind of forget that I actually like hand sewing. Oh, another thing I learned about this fabric in the process of doing the pintucks is that the dye in this fabric is not set. It was like bleeding out onto my ironing board after I ironed it. Which is, I mean, it's thrift store fabric, so I'm not, like, super, like, appalled or anything at this, but it's not set, so I will have to make sure that happens. Wash your fabrics. I could have maybe avoided this whole mess if I had just done that. Oh my god. Like, all that is, that's cold water and soap. And all that's... Look at the amount of dye that came out. This is like the single most stressful experience I have had making a costume. So if nothing else, I am certainly learning a lot of things from this project. One is that I never ever want to dye tassels again because holy shit. So I, hate this. Is this a good time to plug my shop that I don't technically have yet? Follow me on Instagram so you can buy my jewelry when I start selling it. You know, for all the trouble this thing gave me, I will say it was worth it. I am very happy with how this looks. There are a few things that bother me about it. There are a couple parts that are not symmetrical that I would really have preferred to have come out symmetrical. It's not as loose up here as I was trying to make it. I still think it looks good, but I was trying to get it a little bit poofier. And then also the neckline came out a little bit narrower than I was intending. And those things in combination also make it, or at least contribute to it being kind of difficult to get on and off, especially with a layer of fabric underneath. And I don't really like how little contrast there is between this stuff and this stuff. This fabric didn't really want to get any darker than this, which is not really surprising. It has some synthetic fibers in there, and I didn't have a synthetic dye to put in the dye bath, so it kind of looks like I was trying to get a color match between these, and I couldn't quite find an exact match, which is the opposite of what happened. These were the same color to begin with. Despite all of this though, I do really like how it came out. I really like how this looks, and I definitely learned a lot of things during this project, and thusly I have a lot of ideas for how I want to go about this the next time I make this outfit, because there will be a next time. Because one of these days, this look will have official color, and I know myself well enough to know that I will still be invested at that point. So there will be a second version of this shirt, assuming we ever get any news about the anime. That's kind of it about the shirt. There are a couple other things I want to say. First of all, I hit 1,000 subscribers, about 2 months ago. Thanks. Doesn't necessarily mean that any of them are actually watching most of my videos, but, you know, but that just means that if you are here, and you're watching this, you are one of my favorites. Secondly, as the result of a recent and incredibly strong hyperfixation, unfortunately I have abandoned all of my morals and downloaded the Clock app, so so if you are interested in seeing more of this character from me, and I mean really, like, I just an unhinged amount of videos planned for this character, you can follow me over there. I also will be cross-posting probably most of that to here when I remember to, but I also, I don't really think anybody actually gives a shit about YouTube Shorts, if we're being honest. But also to make more time for me, partly for that, and also partly for, like, other things that I should be doing, I'm gonna scale back to a baseline of one video on here every 2 months, because this video kicked my ass a little bit. And complicated projects like this tend to generate a lot of stress for me for something that I'm not getting paid to do, as much as I would really like to be paid to do it. This is as far as I have scripted. I will put links to my social things in the description. Oh, also, shop link, well, not the shop link, because I don't have the link doesn't work yet. But I have there's also a jewelry Instagram, which is, I've already mentioned that at a different point in this video. I don't need to, okay. Anyway, link to that will also be in the description. One of these days I'll script myself an outro, and then I will know what the fuck I'm doing when I finish the video. But, I haven't done that. That's all. If you're here all the way at the end of the video, you're one of my favorites. I love you. Bye! Gonna have a lot of dead space here. This, oh, what the fuck, that's not the right layer. It's not nighttime yet. It's not nighttime yet. It's steep right here. Did I fucking ask? Shut up. No depth perception. Oh no, she's in prison. Are you in jail? Oh no. I project so much. I don't really need to. My phone that is recording audio is like a foot in front of my face. I don't need to project this much. The theater schooling really got me, I think.